Hey, everybody. I'm not one of those people who can just watch things fall apart. When I noticed something was wrong with my wife, I immediately decided to talk to her. I asked her why she stopped talking to me, hugging me, and being close to me. I asked why she became uncomfortable with my touch. It was hard to get her to talk, but eventually she opened up. Why hurt hit me hard. She said that she felt lonely, that she had to figure things out on her own. She could not rely on me, and thought she was probably better off alone. Her words came out of the blue, but I did not want to argue. I told her I understood and promised to work on myself. I just want to make things right because she is everything to me. It is not easy. Despite my efforts, I'm plagued by thoughts that keep me awake. That is why I decided to seek support. I feel like her accusations are unfair. I'm trying to be a good husband. I work from home, and after work, I take care of the children. I play with them, feed them, take my oldest to swimming, and put them to bed. If they wake up during the night, I am there to help as well. Besides the kids, I do the house, washing dishes, grocery shopping, and cleaning. Although my wife thinks I do not do it as well as she would like, and often takes over. I also keep an eye on the car and take care of issues with the house. All of this I do to make it easier on her. I know how hard it is with 2 small children. But I'm not one of those people who is constantly on the move. There are people who see a not sit still, always looking for something to do. But that is not me. I have my own rhythm, and I think it is normal. When everything is done, the kids are asleep, work is done, the house is in order, I like to relax with a movie or a video game. I've never dreamed of making millions or having my own business. I just care about being good at what I do and having stability. Recently, however, things have changed. My wife started criticizing my approach, even though we were doing well before. In December, things escalated and I started to try harder. I started helping more around the house, shopping, fixing anything that needed fixing. I thought she would notice and appreciate it, but her attitude remained the same. Then I got up the courage to ask her directly if she wanted to save our marriage. Her answer, "I do not know," was a shock to me. How can one not know? Is it indifference or something else? I asked if she was willing to go to couple therapy, and again I heard, "I do not know." I could not take it anymore and said that at a time like this, UCA not stay in uncertainty. After all, not only is our marriage at stake, but also the future of our children. After much persuasion, she finally agreed to go to therapy. However, remaining true to her usual behavior, she did not show any initiative. Everything, from finding the right therapist to making an appointment, fell on my shoulders. In one of the sessions, she confessed things that were a real blow to me. She told me that she had only married me to impress her family and fit their idea of a happy family with perfect children. She admitted that she never really loved me, but was just infatuated with the idea of marriage. But that was just the beginning. I later learned that she had been secretly meeting with a fellow priest to discuss our marriage behind my back. This betrayal caused me a storm of anger and resentment. Despite all of this, I continue to search for a good therapist for us. We are now on our 3rd session, but things are not going easy. It turned out that we have very different ways of expressing love. I need physical contact, and for her it is more important to do everyday things. The situation was complicated by the fact that since the beginning of therapy, she had never shown me any physical affection. No hugs, no touching, nothing. When the therapist found out that we had not slept in the same room in 6 months, she was shocked. My wife's explanation was that she sleeps with the kids, and there is simply no room for me. The therapist bluntly said that this behavior sets a bad example for the children and suggested we buy a separate bed for our room. I took that advice, purchased the bed, and had it installed. I now sleep in the same room as my family, but I still feel lonely. My wife is on the left edge of the bed, the kids are in the middle, and I am on the very edge as if I am not in the family at all. Plus, her explanations keep changing. First, she said it was hard for her to stay home with the kids. Then she claimed she made her harsh statements in a fit of emotion. But no matter how angry I get, I would never say anything like that to her. We hired a nanny, and my wife went back to work. The only thing that has changed is that we talk more. But I'm not just her conversation partner. I'm her husband, and there is still no intimacy between us. She does not seem to care about our therapy sessions. I keep scheduling them myself. Recently, my friends have started voicing suspicions that my wife is cheating on me. At first, I wrote off what they said as fiction, as if it were the plot of some movie. But today, everything changed. Now it is a reality you see not turn away from. And as it turned out, it was insanely easy to convict her. I put a voice-activated recorder in the car. In 3 days, she used the car to get to work and the gym. And then she got a call. I do not know who dialed first, her or him, but I heard every word of their video conversation. Everything I needed was now in my hands. They were discussing things so personal that it literally turned me inside out. Those jokes they made, the inner intimacy, it was all reminiscent of how my wife and I used to communicate when we first started dating 9 years ago. And that's not all. They were even planning a vacation together. She said she is going to visit him in July, and he is due to move back to our country in 2 years. She bluntly stated that she's going to be his wife and leave me. They even discussed their favorite poses. It is so personal, I not get my head around it. I just listened to an hour of this conversation, and now I need to digest everything I heard. I'm meeting with an attorney next week. Thanks to my friend, if it was not for his advice, I never would have bought this recorder. Some might say I was mean to put it in my car and violate my wife's privacy, but I do not care about that at all. I'm sure I did the right thing, and I do not feel the least bit guilty. I constantly think about my kids and what she has done. Their affair started back in September, and I did not notice a change in her behavior until 2 months later. Next week, I have to go to another city for a whole week to care for my dad. That means she would not be going to work and will be using my home office. And you know what else that could mean? She will most likely socialize with him there. Should I leave the tape recorder there for a week? Or do I have enough evidence already? Suddenly, I learned that my wife had tried to call her ex-boyfriend not once, not twice, but 4 times in a row at 10 o'clock at night. This came as a real shock to me. I found out about it thanks to an app we had once installed to synchronize our contacts. It saved all incoming and outgoing calls. Why did my wife, who had never mentioned her ex before, suddenly start calling him so insistently? It was driving me crazy. I decided to check her iMessage on my laptop. Turns out, after the calls, she sent him a message saying, "I'm not giving up until you finally respond and talk to me in a respectful and civilized manner." I could not believe my eyes. I confronted her about it. She denied it at first, but I had proof, data from the app and a list of her outgoing calls. She could not deny it and had to admit that she had indeed tried to contact him. I asked her why she was calling him, and she said she was just returning his calls. Then I asked about the text message. She again tried to deny it, but I showed her the text. Then she started to explain herself. She said he called her drunk, talking nonsense, and she hung up on him. Later, supposedly out of guilt, she tried to call him back, and when he did not answer, she sent him a text. According to her, he never responded. The story was so confusing that I could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. It all happened right around the time she started to drift away from me. Her explanation made it sound like it was not anything meaningful or strange to her. She claimed there was nothing wrong with it for her. But for me, any contact with an ex is a red flag. We've already become much less close over the past 6 months, and that is when these calls started. I now have undeniable proof that our problems are not as simple as she tells those around her. She does not know that I realize this. Her family and friends are convinced that we are just going through a difficult time. She comes from a Catholic family with 3 sisters and goes to church every Sunday. We live in a small town of 177,000 people and have recently started building a house that is not yet finished. I learned that she plans to ask me to leave so she can live alone for a while. In 2 years, her ex will move to our town and live with her in our house with our children. She hopes people will understand her choice and not judge her, because kids need a full family. This ex is her first boyfriend, whom she dated for 5 years before our marriage. We have been together for 9 years. He lives abroad now, but comes to our country often. I will not let her manipulate me like this. I have already hired a lawyer and will meet with him soon. I have records that can greatly damage her reputation. After talking to the lawyer, I realized that making a scandal and trying to ruin her life during the divorce is not the smart way to go about it. My wife and I have children, and we have to raise them together for the next 15 to 16 years. This fact obligates me to be careful and have their best interests in mind. I also respect her family and do not want to involve them in the divorce as witnesses. In addition, fighting for custody of the children is pointless. They are too young and need their mother, who lives in a small town an hour away from me, who is in the capital city. The house we live in cannot be sold as the children need a place to live normally, and we have no alternative accommodation. They are now temporarily staying in a house belonging to her father, but this is only a temporary solution. After our conversation, my lawyer sent her the divorce papers, which should be delivered to her within a few days. Yesterday, I had the day off and took care of our 1-year-old son while my wife worked in the capital city. In the meantime, my brother helped me gather all my belongings from the apartment and load them into his car. In the midst of this chaos, a letter arrived from the letter carrier, an invitation to mediation so that we could try to divide all the property in a civilized manner and finalize the divorce amicably. The paperwork also mentioned that she was in a relationship with another man whose first and last name was listed. That was the reason for the divorce. At least the evidence I had would come in handy for alimony and other legal aspects. When my wife came home, I immediately called her in for a conversation. I stated that I knew everything. I had proof, and I was deeply shocked by it. I demanded that she contact my lawyer, and I went to her parents' house. Naturally, she started asking how I knew everything and denied the accusations. Her parents were shocked, but believed me. I recorded the whole conversation as my lawyer advised me. I started by asking them if they thought I was a good husband and father. They said yes, which meant she could not use them as witnesses against me in court. They realized how serious the situation was and realized how her act had ruined our lives. I thanked them for their understanding and headed back to the capital. In the meantime, I contacted a friend who helped spread the news to her friends. 2 hours later, I got a call from my brother-in-law informing me that she had confessed to cheating with this man, but had conveniently left out some of the details. Classic. He also told me that everyone was on my side and that she had destroyed our family on her own. Then he added that everything could still be saved, saying that he himself cheated on his wife, but she forgave him, and now they live happily ever after. Absurd, is not it? As if that could comfort me. Soon her father called me and started telling me that it was all her fault, that she did not realize what she had done. He stated that this man would never show up at his house again and stopped helping her financially. He even tried calling her lover, but of course he did not answer. At the end of the conversation, he too said that everything could be saved. And then her sister sent me a message expressing her full support for me, but again with the same belief that our relationship could be repaired. I honestly do not understand what they all talking about. It's ridiculous, like everything can be fixed by some miracle. It makes me angry. I'm convinced our relationship is beyond repair. My only concern is that someone might think like I do not have enough evidence or reason to divorce. They do not know all the details, but I have hard facts. All they know is that there is some kind of record. I have audio recordings of her saying things like, "So try to last longer than 3 seconds when I come to visit you in Brussels," or, "I'm curious. Is your father the same size as you?" She adds, "I'm going to go over to that woman and ask what size your brother is and tell her what size you are." She ends by saying, "I love you so much. I'm finally leaving my husband. It's about time. Do me a favor and videotape yourself and send it to me. I want to see what I'm missing. Just show me how sad your life will be without me." She also added, "I'm giving you a generous 2 years to figure out how to get back here." Just as my friends predicted, my ex is trying to get back in again. After a serious talk with her family, she started texting me apologizing, stating that she had no idea what she was doing and that life without me would become unbearable. She sincerely apologizes for her actions and talks about how much she looks forward to my return with the kids. However, it all sounds like empty words to me. My attorney has finally laid out the terms of the divorce that I want, and now we are waiting for her response. In the meantime, My mother-in-law floods my phone with links to Christian websites about forgiveness. She claims that my wife was possessed by an evil spirit. My wife's sister has also added to the drama by accusing me of ruining the marriage because of my selfishness. Now my wife walks around in tears and regrets, wishing she could turn back the clock. Suddenly, I am the narcissistic villain who is destroying the marriage by filing for divorce. All the blame is piled on me. Even though I expected her family to turn against me, it still came as a shock. For a moment today, I felt guilty, as if it was really my fault. They know how to push, but no matter how hard it is, I will not change my mind. The divorce will go through no matter what. In the Czech Republic, children of that age usually stay with their mother after a divorce, so I will not be able to be with them all the time. They will live in a small town an hour away where their kindergarten and school are located. Splitting custody in half under those circumstances is impossible. I will be in every other weekend, dad with extra access whenever I want. It is sad and painful, but it's CA not be helped. I started to think about the strange idea of suggesting terms for a reunion. Not because I still love her, but for the sake of the kids. It would not be a true marriage, but rather a partnership with separate finances. She would have to move to the capital city, and I would insist on installing GPS in her car and checking her phone daily. In return, I would reserve the right to go on dates with other girls for 7 months, perhaps even cheat without telling her. It is just a thought, and I probably would not pursue it. I just desperately want to silence her family by stopping accusing me of abandoning the kids. Agreed. It sounds crazy, but I do not have any other ideas yet. Right now I'm staying with my parents, sleeping on the couch in their living room. The dining table has become my temporary workspace and leisure center. Clothes are scattered everywhere. I work from home about 8 hours a day and then help my elderly parents, they're 90 and 82, with household chores, shopping, and trips to the doctor. To take my mind off my gloomy thoughts, I go to the gym or watch movies at the theater. I see my kids every weekend. My ex-wife brings them to me, and I take them back. By the way, I did a paternity test, and at least there is no confusion about it. The boys are really mine. Right now, the divorce situation remains chaotic, and it is hard to predict how it will end. Living with my parents limits my options. As a father of 2 and an adult, I want a decent amount of money from my wife and for her to take over the mortgage on the house. She has agreed to the mortgage, but is only offering a third of the amount I requested. All this chaos is only justified by the amount of effort I put into building the house. The situation is confusing and unfair. It is not my fault what happened, but I need somewhere to live. However, the share I am being offered is completely insufficient to buy an apartment. The squabble between our lawyers continues. She offers a very small sum of money, as she wants to keep the house. But I find out that she may have to sell it to cope with the mortgage and payments to me. In fact, this should have been done from the start, as it will be difficult for her to handle such expenses alone. We'll see how things turn out. As for alimony, she is demanding more than is reasonable, and we need to come to an agreement here too. Also, she insists that I pick up the kids from her small town and bring them back after the weekend. In my opinion, it should be the other way around. She should bring them to me, and I should bring them back. After all responsibility for this situation lies with her. Yet she seems to be willing to argue over every point in the divorce agreement. It is annoying beyond belief. My wife tried to convince me that she was remorseful and sorry for what she had done. She claimed to have broken up with her lover, invited an exorcist, confessed, and left everything in God's hands. I could not contain my laughter and told her that I did not care about her confession to a priest. She should confess to me. I gave her a chance to be honest about how many times she had been intimate with this man, but she denied everything. Then I reminded her of the party with her coworkers in November and asked why she was renting an Airbnb instead of staying at a friend's house. She was dumbfounded and then asked why I kept torturing myself. I explained that if she was truly sorry, she would not have lied 2 months after I left. It was obvious she was not telling the truth. I told her that even virtual intimacy matters to me, and I know they had it. She could not even remember how many times it had happened. I then asked her how she imagines our reunion, if she first starts a conversation with me and then immediately lies. I also asked if she realized that I would have to check her phone every day and how she felt about it. She flared up, stating that it was not trust, but treating me like garbage. At this point, we were interrupted by our son, and the conversation came to an end. I added that she had betrayed not only me, but also our two favorite boys. This infuriated her, and she screamed at me to never say that in front of the kids again. Ironically, her sister told me how my wife put on a show of suffering, acting out a daily scene of sadness and remorse in front of the family, while she continued to lie when meeting with me. She even stated that she could have stayed with her lover if she wanted to, and her family would have done nothing. And yet she still demands thanks for stopping contact and controlling her behavior. Seriously? Update. After much arguing through attorneys, we finally came to an agreement, and the divorce will be finalized soon. She gets to keep the unfinished house, and the mortgage now falls entirely on her shoulders. I want to make it clear that the house is for the children, and I do not want anyone to accuse me of retaliation for her cheating. Also, I am not going to live in her small town, which is an hour away from the capital city where I am now. However, I am being repaid the money I invested in the house, and it is a pretty decent amount. We have agreed on a reasonable amount of child support, and she will bring the children to me in the capital every weekend. I'll drive them back, but seeing my children only on weekends is unbearable for me. It hurts me a lot, and at times I can barely cope with the feeling. My boys, 1 year old and 3 years old, will have to grow up without a father because of their motherless behavior. I wish they could be with me, but the laws in the Czech Republic unfortunately do not allow this. I may have to start traveling there midweek or find other ways to cope and survive. Meanwhile, their mother continues to make contact, claiming that she still loves me and wishes that the past could be changed. She assures me that she suffers every day because of what she has done. So changed, in fact, that she now claims as if it would be no problem for her if I wanted to check her phone. Furthermore, she has apologized to my parents and seems genuinely remorseful. She is willing to do whatever it takes to make up for what happened. However, UCA not even imagine what I found out about her lover. Our mutual acquaintances have informed me that this man has actually left her. It turns out that he has a family and a child in Brussels, and he did not want to risk getting caught up in this convoluted scandal. It was all just a game to him, in which he used my wife as a puppet. Now I've moved on. Her toxic behavior can no longer drag me down. Divorce is inevitable, and there is no turning back. I say goodbye to the man who betrayed me and turn my eyes to the future. I have better things to do and better plans than looking back on the chaos she left behind. It is time for a new beginning, and I'm ready to welcome it with open arms. And that is where today's story ends. Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed it, do not forget to like and comment. We'd love to discuss this story with you. See you in the next video.